Think everybody can hear me. We're going to get things started. I just want everybody to, first and foremost, thank you for joining us today with this meeting. When kind of all the situations came about, we had to make a decision on whether or not we maintain this meeting or whether or not we try to push it into the spring. This is a crucial time for landscapers because in just a couple of weeks, they're going to be as busy, probably the most busy people in town. So keeping this date was really important to us. And learning this technology is also something we have to learn if we're going to be in this situation for a prolonged time. So I appreciate everybody making this meeting. I apologize if the audio or the visual isn't perfect. But again, we've got a handful of people from every different direction all across Fort Collins and the Front Range connecting for this meeting. So bear with us. If you have any questions throughout this meeting, we do have a chat box so that you can type them into, and we have somebody in water conservation is going to be monitoring those. So please be patient, understand this process. We've got some really important information to cover today. That's why keeping this meeting in its spot was crucial for us. And I have a feeling there will be a lot of follow-up after this. We will have the PowerPoint available for you to review on our CLP website with actually quite a bit more information on the details. That will be following this presentation. So without much ado, we're going to get things started. And there we go. All right, we are in our 5th year. We have 14 companies signed up for the CLP program. I got to tell you, I'm really excited. Part of the year, when you hear the news and the messaging we're asking from you this year, you're going to understand why this meeting is so crucial. So congratulations for everybody for being a CLP. We have about 3 or 4 companies that are in the process of receiving their certification. If you look at the image on the screen right now, that is a testing. The CLIA, we're doing an inside test. That was back in February, where we lay out the catch cans and evaluate an irrigation system. And that's part of becoming a CLP, is that type of certification. We're also going to cover the new rules and requirements in the program this year. We've got a great new addition to the program, and that is forestry is going to start participating with us. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Abby Neal is going to step in, and Abby's going to introduce and explain and reintroduce some of the programs that we have available for the landscape industry in the form of grants and in the form of just helping landscape transformations come to. So Abby will be covering that. We have a brand new high energy portal that Kay Lee from Platte River Power Authority will be introducing to us. Most important is the final thing we're going to be talking about. We have some city messaging that is really important that the landscapers get on board with, and that is our Horsetooth Outlet project. So that's going to end up the presentation today. Really important information about what we're going to do this fall, and we need kind of all contractors with hands on board to help us get through this end of the season. So, certified landscape professionals. This is a great program, really valuable program. We've got some new 2020 requirements that we are going to be pursuing this year. What that means is that every March and every September, it's going to be set in stone that the month of March and the month of September are going to have mandatory meetings for this program. We're going to cover a lot of things like we're going to discuss today, what's important for the upcoming season, and what we need your help with conveying to the public and helping with our messages. We also really want to see this group start to understand the rebates and how they're going to help us save water on the landscape. That's our biggest piece of pie in terms of saving. And the irrigation rebates, I think, are a great tool for water users to improve their efficiency on their landscape. You will see an email from me in the following week, and that is requesting your maintenance properties that you are maintaining for the 2020 season. This is an effort to try to support our wasting or our saving water hotline and solve wasting water issues when they come into the office in a much more timely manner if we have some sort of contact list to identify who we reach out to. The benefits of being a CLP are big. You get to say you're a CLP, which is a big deal. Also, the referrals from the sprinkler audit program. Last year, we visited over 430 residential homes. A lot of those customers are seeking advice from irrigation or landscaping. A lot of times they're prompted to you. The AMP and the ZIP program, the Xeriscape Incentive Program, are great tools, and all the CLPers are well aware of the ins and outs of those. Todd Musey and I are going to be updating our website, changing things, making it a little bit more useful for the CLPers, and maybe highlighting some of their specific skills. So that's something we're excited to get on today. And then the collaboration and feedback. I can't tell you enough how important this meeting is with what we've got to get through in terms of messaging. So just a quick little review of what the commercial rebates are for irrigation. From rain sensors to newly added master valves and flow sensors. We've got a bevy of a whole bunch of stuff. We've even hosted custom rebates in the last couple of years with Pyramid Landscape. So if you've got a tool or an idea or a method that's going to save water for any sort of landscape within the city of Fort Collins, let us know. Let's come up with a custom rebate, and let's enable that and establish that as a method to do so. So any questions on that, be sure to let me know. And just to let you guys know, this is what we do in water conservation. We're really trying to provide tools to customers to identify those opportunities of wasted water. We're also trying to support why we water the landscape in different ways, why we cycle soap to address the soil issues, why we offer the best practices to keep water out of the curb and on the landscape that we're trying to fortify and establish. Adding to the program, in our first year will be forestry. Molly Roach is our senior forest. All right, I'm getting some feedback. That must be Molly's on there. Our senior forestry coordinator is going to be available for questions. Of course, she's listening today, but she's not in the office because we're kind of in a lockdown mode. But when you're looking at planting city trees in the right of way, the key is to reach out to forestry. Real great group of people that are there to help and make sure that these plants have what they need in order to get through the tough climate and the situation that we're putting on them. So we have a process of what we want to see done and the way to ensure that these trees meet the requirements and the health of what we're expecting from the local nurseries. Molly's going to help you with that. Molly is going to make herself available at all these spring and fall meetings. She'll have cards, and she will be a liaison for you to answer any questions when you're dealing with trees in the right of way. She even goes out to the nursery that you're working with and will tag the specific tree and make it easy for you to get it in the ground, stuff like that. And then after you've got it done, of course, there's a maintenance component associated with that tree. We want to make sure that the tree is properly mulch staked and irrigated. And here is the contact information for you with Molly and Niles from Forestry. Great group and real helpful to answer any of your questions in the world of trees. With that, I'm handing it over to Abby Neal, a water conservation specialist. We've known Abby because she does a lot of those water monitoring programs like the AMP, and she's also been leading up a couple of grant programs for some landscape transformations. Abby, are you there?
Yep, I am here, if people can hear me. So the first program I'm going to talk about is the allotment management program. So as a reminder, I think all of you have heard me talk about excess water use surcharges before. And as of 2020, they are $10.09 per every 1,000 gallons over the allotment. So if you're working with a property that has a water allotment, and only properties that were installed after 1984 have a water allotment, and I'm happy to look Look that up if you have any questions on whether you're working with a property that's in an allotment situation or not. But it's now $10.09 when they hit that allotment. So that will be charged in addition to what they normally pay for water. Also, just to kind of, we're trying to ingrain this into people's plannings. The excess water use surcharges from here on out will be reviewed every 2 years. So every 2 years, you can probably expect an increase. I cannot, it probably will never go down, and I would most likely expect it to continue going up. So the cycle is, of course, 2020, it increases. So the next time you may see an increase is 2022, then 2024. So just kind of keep that 2-year cycle in mind for planning purposes. We did put together AMP, or the allotment management program. A lot of you are participating in it. I'm not going to go over kind of the all the details of the program, but this will be shared out afterwards, and everything is hyperlinked, so you can go to our webpage to find more information. But what AMP allows is a temporary waiver up to 3 years from those excess water use surcharges, provided a landscape change that reduces water or an irrigation equipment change that reduces water is implemented on that property. In our first year, we had 15 applicants, and right now we have 12 participants who are estimated to save over 4.5 million gallons of water, which is very exciting. I should have adjusted this. That is not opening on March 23rd, because that would have been yesterday, but the application for to receive a waiver in 2021 will open by the end of March. We're very close. COVID just kind of pushed back some things for us. There is a pre-application which should take no more than 10 minutes. That's due by November 1st. And an application which will require both an irrigation and a landscape plan, which is most likely where you all come in, is due by December 1st. Eric, can you click for me? Thank you. So the other grant programs, and I don't actually manage this, Katie Collins manages this. She is also on this phone call and is more than happy to answer any questions. Just for less people, I'm going to speak to these programs today. But the Xeriscape Incentive Program, instead of waiving charges, we will potentially give you some funds to help with the landscape conversion project. Right now, this is a pilot program, and we only have funding through the end of 2020 for projects that are implemented in 2021. But we hope to continue it. In ZIP's first year, we had 19 applicants, and we awarded 7 different projects. You can receive up to $15,000. Similar to AMP, there's a pre-application and application, which will be due in early fall and early winter. And again, that program is run by Katie Collins in Water Conservation. There's 2 other grant programs we want to make sure you all are aware of, but they're run by different entities. So one is Northern Water, which is a similar grant program for landscape transformation projects, which you can get up to $15,000, but that's run out of their department. Again, if you click on that hyperlink later, you can get that information. And the final one is the Nature in the City grant program, which is run through the Natural Areas Department. And so instead of focusing on water conservation, that one is focusing on increasing native landscapes within the city, but there's a lot of overlap between water conservation and kind of native plants and how much water those native plants will use. And so we wanted to make everyone aware of that. They're a little bit behind us, but those applications will be due in January, and you can get $45,000 for those. And that is a wrap. And now I will be passing it over to Kaylee from Platte River Power Authority to talk about the new platform for submitting irrigation rebates.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kaylee Osborne. I'm with Efficiency Works, and Efficiency Works is a collaboration of electric and water efficiency programs with the city of Estes, Fort Collins, Longmont, and Loveland, and our parent company, Platte River Power Authority. Fort Collins is currently the only city we work with that provides commercial irrigation incentives right now. For 2020, we have a new online process that will require you to register as a service provider. On the slide, here's a brief overview of how to sign up. The best way to do it is go to our website, efficiencyworks.org. go to the Serving Businesses page and find a link into the portal. The application to sign up to be a registered service provider is pretty simple. It's just contact information, but we will need you to upload a W-9 as well as a certificate of liability listing Platte River as the additionally assured. Eric can send a more in-depth guide after this meeting is done, as well as my contact information if you have any questions on that. I think the next slide, there's one more slide. And this is just kind of a snapshot of what the rebate application portal will look like. It will give you access to kind of monitoring your projects and where they are in the rebate process. But yes, once again, my name is Kaylee Osborne, and feel free to email me with any questions you may have on that.
All right, Mariel Miller, are you there, Mariel?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody. Water conservation is wrapping up the review and updates to our existing water shortage plan. This effort has been ongoing for about the last year and a half with a large focus on collecting feedback and input. In total, we've engaged about 800 people during the effort and collected different surveys, 1,300. Can you go ahead and click for me? With the CLP group specifically, we've provided about 4 different engagement opportunities where we've shared information and solicited feedback. Thank you to those who've participated in any of those and provided input on the water shortage updates. Can you click once more? So a draft of the plan, as well as other related resources, can be found at this website. And City Council will be reviewing the first reading of the Water Shortage Action Plan on April 7th, where we're expecting it to be adopted and effective following their April 22nd council meeting, which would be their second reading. So part of the changes that we're making, and if they're approved by council, the new plan would include an alternative response level to address extreme or unique water shortage scenarios and allow for certain restrictions to be selected from those approved in the plan where only a partial set of restrictions might be required. So this alternative level may be utilized by the upcoming Horsetooth Maintenance Project, which I'll now hand over to Alice Conovance from Water Conservation to describe in greater detail. If you want to click to the next slide, and I'll hand it over to Alice.
Great, thanks, Mariel, and hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. As Eric said, we just really appreciate everyone being flexible with this technology and with all the changes going on. So I'm the last presenter before Eric wraps us all up. And this is just a couple minutes longer than the other topics we've talked about, because this is new and we want to make sure to give you guys all the information that we have right now. And again, as Eric mentioned, if you have questions as we go, please type them into the chat box, and Kelly will collect those. And after I'm done talking, the questions we can answer, we will. Anything we can't answer right now, we'll connect back with folks. So please do ask your questions. And of course, if you have questions that come up later, just reach out to Eric or to myself. I'll have my information at the end. So the Horsetooth Outlet Project, I'll give you an overview of what this is, what it means for water availability to our whole community this fall, and how we can all work together and partner to get the word out. Next slide, Eric. And before we dive in, taking a moment, no one knows better than people who work outdoors in Colorado that the only constant is change. We've all been having some real lessons in that this week. So the Horsetooth Outlet Project, I'm going to describe to you. Well, there will be impacts on water use this fall, but the way, and I'll give you those details, but the ways we're approaching the demand management, all of that is dynamic and in flux right now. So we're reaching out to everyone to share this information with you as early as possible, but we don't have all the details yet. So I'll let you know as I go through the presentation some of the pieces that are more in flux than others. But again, we just wanted to get this information out early so everyone could be prepared and could plan. And as we progress and finalize things, and this relates to what Mariel was just talking about, getting City Council approval on the new water shortage action plan and other pieces. As all these pieces are finalized, we'll be updating our HOP website. We'll use avenues of communication to let all you CLPers know what exactly the demand management approach will look like. So with no further ado, I'll get into the details. Next slide, please, Eric. What are we talking about here? The Horsetooth Outlet Project, or we're calling it HOP for short. This is an infrastructure repair and maintenance project on the Soldier Canyon Dam outlet on Horsetooth Reservoir. So if you were to take LaPorte Avenue and just go all the way west till it ends at Horsetooth, that's the Soldier Canyon Dam. This will begin in October this fall. It should last 45 to 60 days. It's necessary maintenance, and Northern Water Conservancy District, to use the full name, we all call them Northern Water. Northern Water maintains all the infrastructure and manages the water in Horsetooth. So it's their project, but it impacts all of us because the outlet structure, and you could think of that as a fancy pipe, that outlet structure brings raw water from Horsetooth to the Fort Collins water treatment plant that's just on the other side. It also brings water to the Tri-District plant. We'll talk about that in a second. This can be hard because that outlet's going to be shut off during that period of time. But it's also important to remember infrastructure is critical to protecting our water into the future. So this is something that we can plan for. And again, we can get the word out months ahead of time so we can all be prepared. And that way we can keep the infrastructure strong without the risk of big surprises in the future. So better, even if this can be challenging, better to protect our infrastructure now and be prepared and to have risks of failure, which of course we don't want. So next slide, please. And again, to be clear about what the impacts are. So this outlet brings raw water to the City of Fort Collins water treatment facility and the Tri-District's facilities. If you click through, Eric, altogether, that's over 220,000 people. That's probably all of us who are on the call right now, probably all of your or most of your clients. So this would be the Eastern Larimer County Water District, North Weld County Water, Fort Collins Loveland Water District. They all get their water from the Soldier Canyon Water Treatment Facility. So next slide, please. And for just another look at the impacted areas, everything in one of those colors on this slide, those are all the areas that get their water from either Fort Collins Utilities or the Tri-District's plant. So again, that raw water, that straight route from Horsetooth isn't going to be happening. And Eric, if you'll click through, I think there's one more. Oh, sorry, you have to click a few times. Fancy animation was planned before we knew this would be a webinar. But the point is, probably everywhere we live and work, we need to think about our water a little bit more this October. Next slide, please. So during HOP, water supplies will be lower. So normally, Fort Collins and the Tri-Districts, we get our water from both Horsetooth and Poudre River, and then it's blended, about 50-50. During HOP, we'll be limited to only the Poudre River source. And we're doing a lot of planning to make sure reservoirs are full and doing a lot of agreements to make sure that we'll have full access to that water coming down the Poudre River. But when supplies are limited, we need to reduce demand too. So our goal for this fall, reduce treated water demand to typical winter levels starting October 1. And winter levels, everybody on this call knows really well, that's your indoor use. In the summer, obviously, water use goes way up as people water lawns, water gardens. So our target is starting October 1 to stop outdoor watering. And on indoor watering, be extra water wise. And so I'll take the next few slides to talk about more details about what that means. Again, why reduce demand? We want to maximize the amount of water that is available coming down the Poudre River during hot. And we also want to be ready if there was any sort of emergency. We want to be ready to quickly, as a community, respond to any sort of emergency that might impact water demand. Next slide, please. Why October? This time of year is a good balance of water use, which is already decreasing in October, getting closer to those indoor levels, and also weather. So again, the weather cools down. We get our first frosts in October. This year we had those early frosts and people were down that winter use. They were that kind of indoor only use of 15 million gallons a day. As a community, we were down to that use around October 10th and didn't come back up because of those early frosts. Also, this is the time of year lawns can just chill out and go dormant for the winter, come back strong in the spring. There are also other factors. Because we'll be getting all of our water from the Poudre system, there's a lower risk in October of that system having issues with freeze up. So if we get too far into the winter, that there's some challenges of freezing that we want to avoid. And also reservoir recreation declines. The reservoir will be lowered a bit. The elevation of the water will be a little bit lower than we normally or than we've seen the last few years this fall. So that'll impact, boaters and other recreators. That's usually winding down by October as well. I should say the reservoir levels will look a little lower than they have the last few years. They're still going to be within kind of historical normals. But that's why this will start in October. And again, it should last 45 to 60 days. That balance point of weather and water use. Next slide. Again, how are we going to do it? How are we going to get down on October 1st to those winter water use levels or have our indoor water use levels? Number one, stop outdoor irrigation for the year by October 1. On one hand, we recognize this is a really big ask, and really all of you, this is a big part of your life, that fall planting and watering season. So stop outdoor irrigation for the year by October 1. On the other hand, like this year, this is only a few days or weeks earlier than people are going to be shutting down those systems early anyways. So we're hoping that this is just sort of a shift to a couple weeks earlier than we'd normally be turning off irrigation to gardens, to lawns, letting those go dormant. The other way we're going to approach the outdoor water use is plan ahead. And again, that's why we're getting this information out as early as we possibly can to let everybody know what's coming. So if you'll click again, Eric. Schedule new plantings so that heavy water in period is done before October 1, if at all possible. And click again, please. Water trees and shrubs deeply before hop starts. So September 29th and 30th, water as much as you want to get those plants really, really ready for the fall and ready to take a break. So again, by planning when these plantings go in, when the installations go in, and also taking advantage of the fact that we do know these dates ahead, we can do some really deep watering before hops start. Next slide, please. And to really emphasize this point of plan now, plant early. For new plantings, just talked about this a little bit, but again, schedule installations, that initial watering schedule, that heaviest water use is done before October 1. For existing landscapes, water deeply in late September, and then stop watering October 1. If it's dry, if it's a dry fall and it's warm, winter water after hop is over, after that 45 to 60-day period. Now, typically we get some moisture during that period, which is another reason October is a good time for this project. So those existing landscapes will hopefully get some early snowfall or some of those fall rains. That'll help them get through. But if things are dry after hop is over, that's a chance to get back in there, water trees, water shrubs, water those landscapes. Now, I said that there are a lot of pieces that are in flux. Actually, can you go back one sec? Thank you. There's a lot of pieces that are in flux. Oh no, can you go to the other one? Sorry. And these are some of the pieces that we don't have all the details yet. So again, the Water Shortage Action Plan is moving through council. We'll have some more details once that process is through. Some types of plantings may need a permit for watering during hop. We just don't know what that's going to look like. So we will, again, keep this group as up to date as we can, as the information comes to us. So we'll have a hop website where we keep all of the information. So this is one of the parts that's really in flux, what it's going to look like. And please reach out with questions if you're not sure what to do about planning and planting. All right, next one, Eric. And a few special considerations. One is raw water. So a lot of landscapes in our community, a lot of parks, golf courses, a lot of school district properties are watered with untreated raw water. That water comes out of Horsetooth from a different outlet, and so it's not impacted by hop. So those landscapes can continue to be watered. We're going to work with folks to hopefully have yard signs or other things explaining why this landscape can be watered during hop when we're asking everybody else to turn off. Also, athletic and active fields will continue watering as needed during hop. Will be some effort to kind of ratchet down water use or reschedule fields so that some of them could be turned off. But for health and safety purposes, those fields need to have water so that people aren't getting hurt there. Next one. So as a recap, we're asking everyone in the whole community to stop outdoor watering for the year by October 1. And all the CLPers on this call, you're the front line of communication for that type of message getting out to the community, and also the front line for kind of the normal October watering schedule, which we recommend down to 1 day a week by then. So it's just ratcheting back a couple weeks early from what should be already a reduced watering schedule. Also, plan now and plant early to get that heavy water use, water in period done before October 1. Then be water wise in your home. And we didn't go into a lot of detail there, but there'll be more information up on our website. Get down, try to challenge yourselves to 5-minute showers, only washing full loads of laundry, and try to ratchet down water use inside the home as well. This is all of us as a community working together to keep infrastructure strong, protect water supplies. And again, we want to do this when we can plan for it and be ready for it. And that way we don't have to worry about surprises in the future that we didn't have time to plan. Next slide, please. So again, thank you to everyone who's joined in today. Thank you for participating in this call. We know it's starting to be a busy season and it's a strange time. But also thank you for your leadership overall and your involvement in these water conservation efforts. Everything that Eric and the other presenters talked about, but also this special case of the Horsetooth Outlet Project. Thank you for working with us, and please come to us with your questions and we'll come to you with more information as we have it. And last slide. Here is the HOP website, and there's a phone number and an email address that will all come to me or our water conservation group if I'm not available, so we can get answers to your questions as they come now through the summer and into the fall when this reduction in watering happens. And thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Alice. Now you can see the value of this meeting, why it was so important that we maintain this time to get that message out. The Hop project is going to affect us, especially in the landscape industry, because we're going to have to shift in how we do our timeline for that 26 maybe 30-week period of the season. So just to wrap things up, again, first and foremost, thank you everybody for attending. Like I said at the very beginning, these are going to be mandatory meetings from now on. It'll be every month, every month of September and every month of March. We'll have a mandatory meeting in order for us to have this information displayed and carried out. Those of you seeking certification to become a CLP, don't forget, you can always go to Front Range Community College and sign up online through the Irrigation Association. You pay for the test, you go there and do it as a computer. As you saw with those earlier pictures, and as you see with this image right here, this is a class I conducted down in Colorado Springs in March. You can either take the written exam, and then you have to wait about 4 to 6 weeks to get your results, or if you take that computer test, the great thing about it is the instant you click submit on that computer screen, we're giving a pass or a fail grade at that point. So any questions about becoming certified, reach out to me. Any questions about this webinar, and I'm sure you're going to have plenty, just reach out to me. I will hand off the questions to who needs to answer them. We can get through this season as a team. So thank you so much, everybody, for participating. Thank you, the presenters. I will be sending out information here this following week on the rebate portal that Kaylee talked about. So thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Abby, Alice, Mario, and everybody for doing this. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them to me at any way, shape, or form. Kelly, how are we doing on the question box there?
So far, there actually hasn't been any questions. But if anyone does have any questions, there is a kind of like a speech bubble at the bottom of your screen that you can click and then type a question.
Or if you don't have any questions and we're just that good of presenters, which is what I'm going to vote for, that's great. Let us know how your season goes. Let us know how the COVID-19 is affecting you. Let us know if there's things we can assist you with. But as the city right now, we're in a lockdown level 4. So we will even have, as you saw on that invitation for this meeting, we have some COVID information provided for our community there. So thank you all for participating. Thank you, everybody involved. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to Alice or I at our website or at our emails listed there. And hope you all have a safe and profitable 2020 season. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.